The x-axis, the gantry for it, it's, this is the Z, the one with the E that goes like this, and this is the X here, the one without the Z, or the E. So for the x-axis, we have two tabs, the smaller one and obviously the larger one. The larger one is about 1.5 inch. The smaller one is about 1.25 inch. So the 1.5 inch one, the larger one, is going to be facing on the outside, just like this. And these tabs actually go inside of the frame, like that. Just kind of have to push it together like that. And then the 832 screws would actually screw right into those tabs that we see, because these tabs have the pin nuts on it. So the 832 screws. 832 screws look like this. Short 832, 1/4 inch, with a flat kind of beveled head there. But let's work on the X carriage here. Alright, crucial part, make sure the longer tab is sticking on the outside to the far right of the machine if you're looking from the front. We're going to need 2 of these rod support. This thing here, this actually tightens down to, hold down the rods, linear rods. Need 2 of them, 2 sets of those. Also make sure, well there's 2 different kind of it. You're gonna want these tabs here. This is for the turn off switch. The push button switches. You're gonna want one tab to be facing on the outside, this way. So farthest away from me. The other tab to be facing the same way. So we want the push buttons to actually be in the back of the gantry here. We need our X carriage. This is our X carriage here. The only difference between this and the Z carriage, this is the Z, this is the X. The Z has a longer, I don't know what to call that, but it's longer, and the X is just kind of directly in the middle there. So, X carriage, Z carriage. If you can see the difference. So we have our X carriage. We need the top plate for the X, which is just this. This flat piece here, these tabs here push the push button. That's the top carriage. Top carriage goes on top of it like this. Like that. And we need the belt. This is what holds the belt. It looks like this. And it will, you want the belt thing, piece, to be sitting like facing this way, towards the back. Because the belt's going to go in a loop like this, and it's going to tighten over here. Loop like that, tighten over here. So you want this facing towards the back, like that. So, yeah, that piece, the longer piece, will be facing towards the back of the machine. The push button also will be facing towards the back, so that way those tabs could push the buttons when you secure it to these things here. So it would look like this. We need the linear rods. I already have the bearings in here. The second longest linear rod is going to be for the x-axis. The longest one is obviously the y, because our y beta is huge. Second longest is going to be our x, and the shortest one is going to be for the z-axis. So for the x, it is 13 inches. Excuse me. It is 13 inches in length. So these, that, And let's get the screws here. Well, let's put it together first and then we'll get the screws later. So the bearings will go right on top of this thing here. On the carriage, the X carriage. Might be tough, but get it there. Should we do that? No. Let's tighten the hot head bracket first. Need the hot head bracket. Okay. So obviously our hot head bracket is going to be facing towards us this way, just like that. This doesn't really have, you know, a direction it's supposed to go. Either go this way or this way. Let me get the screw for that. Here's another crucial point here. It's a 1032 by 1 3/8. It's the longest 1032 screws. We have 4 of them. 4 1032 by 1 3/8 inch. We have 4 of them. We're only going to need 2. And we're going to need 2 lock nuts. 1032 lock nuts. So what we're basically going to do is you're going to have to put it connected with the gantry. For right now, we're going to go through the 2 holes of the hot head bracket, 2 farthest hole from in the back. We're just going to put that in like this. So we have it like this. We have it like that. If you can see it, just like that. And then we're going to secure it down with the lock nuts. That's to help the X carriage and the hot head bracket to stay nice and tight together. This is actually a Phillips. Try to find these in with the socket, that way we could tighten it more, but they didn't have it in that socket. It is a lot harder with the lock nuts, but once it's down, it's down. Want to tighten it all the way yet, because we still want to adjust the hot head bracket to be leveled. Oh, you can't see what I did. So I'm just basically tightening somewhat in there. Alright, let's kind of level it up before we tighten it all the way down. Push it as much far out as you can. You kind of want to, you don't want to crook it like this. So you just kind of want to straighten it out before you really tighten it down. You want to pull it far out as possible. That looks good. Good. Alright, now let's tighten it. Oh, that would have been easier if I just did that. And I kept it like that. Or, let's see. Oh, we're so close. Yeah, or we could just do this. And then we'll put it in the gantry later. So now I'm tightening it. You always learn things. This is probably my 4th build, and I I didn't realize that. So the farthest tab goes out here on this bracket. So close. How do we get this bracket out? This bracket went in like that, so yeah, there you go. Just like that. Let me do that again. So after you tighten this, just kind of go down like that and like that. Easy. Far tab over there, brackets facing the right way, and we're done. So now we got that done. That's the other crucial part. We do need 1032 lock nuts to secure this down into the hotbed, just like that. Now we put our bearings. Let's do this here. So the rod support with the tab hanging out here should be facing towards the back of this gantry. So it's going to go this way. So we're going to put our rod support in here. That's one. That's another one. And let's just place it in here for now. And let's tighten down this one. This rod support. The screw for that is going to be 3/4 also. Yep, 3/4 inch. We had already had some over here. We have, what happened there? 7/8. Those are 7/8. This is 3/4. Let's find some more 3/4. So I got 4 right here for both of our rod supports. Let me just confirm that. Yep, 3/4. So the first thing we're going to do is, let's do this. Put these screws up here. And these are also held down by standard 1032. Standard 1032 nuts. Not with the lock washer. Pretty sure. But let me make sure of that. After I kind of get this in place. Yep, standard nut and standard nut. Alright, where's my 1032 bit? For this one, you really don't have to tighten it too much. Just kind of tighten it by hand. And I'll guarantee you the rod is not going to move. I mean, just even with one rod support, it's going to be hard to force it out. So I'm going to kind of push the linear rod to the end of the tab over here. Let's see this first screw. Just kind of like that. That should be good. Nothing too hard. Did I put another standard nut? Another standard 1032 nut here. Let's tighten that down. I'm going to tighten this just a little bit also. Go back to the other one. Tighten that. Just very gently. Just like that. And these rods are not going anywhere. And that's only one of them. We have 2. So that's what we just did. You see the 2 nuts up there on the side. We have the nut going through and the 1032 by 3/4 inch screw. That's it. Now let's do the other side. Or you know what? I should have pushed this back more actually. I should have pushed it back. See, I can't even push it back. Tighten it. because we have our because we have this thing, the end cap. And you know what? We actually have room. I didn't need to do that, but I'm just gonna do it just in case. Push it back a little bit. So it's sticking about maybe 2 millimeters past that tab there, but doesn't matter. I don't think. Just again, nice and soft, nothing too much. Because we don't want to bend this metal too much. The metal that's on top, the plate that's on top of the rod support. Now let's put this other one in. There you go, it's in. And let's line up the hose. Let's put the plate on top of it. Again, making sure that these 2 tabs here on the rod support is towards the back. Because we want our switches to be towards the back. And if we're going to run any wires towards the back. Alright, that's down. 1032 3/4 inch screw. 1032 3/4 inch screw. We need 2 standard nuts. You guys can't even see this. Well, not if you can see it from down here anyways. I'll show you guys when we're done. And that's in. So as you can see, I'm not even using pliers to hold the nut down. So we don't need it that tight. And once it gets down a certain point, the rod support kind of just holds the screw in place anyways. So this one I might, there you go. Let's just tighten this a little bit. Other one. There you go. And that's not going anywhere. Here's the other side. This is what the center looks like with the 2 screws. So that's what we have so far. We have our 4 bearings in there. We have our X carriage, the hot head bracket. And now we're just gonna put the brackets in, the bearings into position. It should just go in that rectangular square thing there, or rectangular slot there, just like that. Our X carriage goes directly right on top of that. So make sure these tabs are facing the back. That way you can push the push button, and that should snap on tight. This again, and then the belt plate goes like that. Again, facing towards the back, facing this way. So that way the belt's going to go like this, around like that. And we're going to secure the belt into these tabs here. And these are also, I think, lock nuts. It doesn't say so. Yep, lock nuts. 1032 lock nuts, because those are 1032 screws. And this you don't have to tighten down too much either. Just by hand, kind of. Alright, it's in there. Make sure the bearings are in its slot there. Let me just use this one here. Just tighten it. Make sure it's nicely aligned. Not slanted at all. And there we have, again, you gotta go back and forth with the nuts. Just slightly like that. And that's not going anywhere. And now we have our X carriage. Oh, you know what? One thing I forgot. Piece of advice is that before you tighten these down all the way, you want to pull the X carriage all the way to the left and then tighten it down. And then before you tighten this down all the way, the rod support screw and nut, you want to pull this all the way to the right and then tighten it down. As of right now, it looks like I have to do that. Or I actually just tighten this thing too much. So, but you can see, nice and smooth. Yeah, you don't want to over tighten this. You don't want to bend the X carriage too much, so that it's rubbing against the wall. But this is good here. Yeah, this is good. Nice and tight, and with the lock nuts, it's not going anywhere. So our X carriage is mainly done. Let's do the belt for it. The belt for the X carriage, I believe it's 30 inches. 30 inches. Yep, 30 inches. So from the bag, it's going to be the longer or the bigger, bigger belt that was included. There's going to be 2 rows of it. The bigger one is for the X, the smaller one is for the Y. The Y should be pre-cut to 21 inches already, which is needed for the Y. 21 inches, yes. Should be pre-cut to 21 inches already. And for the belt for the X, that's the one that was longer. And just to show you, it's this belt here. So you're going to have to unroll it, cut it to 30 inches. And I already have one that I cut it. This is the X. So how we're going to put the belt in, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to need a flathead. Use this. Change this to a flathead. With these tabs here, just kind of stick it in there. Push this tab out, just like that. Also with the other one, push this tab out, just like that. Just like that. And from there, so the belt is going to go like this, with the teeth actually facing the center of this gantry. The teeth of the belt. So the teeth is facing, let's just say, these 1032 nuts here, these lock nuts. You're basically going to secure it in like this. How do I do this? Yeah, like that. And let me face it towards me so it's easy. It's kind of like this. Or do we want it like that? Yeah, just like that. Just like that. Or we only want one sticking out like this. And after you do that, you're just going to take a pair of pliers and squeeze it back in place. The tab that we took out back in place there. That one's locked down. And this one, same thing. I'll show you once I finish this here. So yep, this belt is 30 inches and that should give you more than enough. Just the exact tension to, you know, adjust it from here or whatnot. That's tight in. And these belts are not going anywhere. And it would look just like this. So that's how the X belt gets clamped in. Just like that. You want to cut these, just make sure you leave one tooth like that, so that way it doesn't fall back in. But this is tight, it's not going to go anywhere, and this should be the perfect length for the axis there. And I think we're done with this. Oh, we need the switch, the momentary switch, and the hot head bracket. Hot head bracket we can do later, but let's just do it now while the gantry's out. We need the... Alright, I'm gonna pause this and I gotta untangle those wires. I'll be right back.